Anybody here watch Everyone Loves Raymond?
Me.
Yeah.
Love
You guys,
it.
Vera, you watched that one?
Yep.
Everyone remember this show? Good old with Patricia Heaton and Raymond over there, and they got the big old guy in the background. Hey, Raymond, whatever.
His
with this
name's
crazy
Robert.
voice. Yeah, that guy, Robert. Well, Patricia Heaton wants to let you know why comedy shows aren't funny anymore. And we have about a 1 minute and 21-second clip as to why things suck today. Let's hear what she has to say.
I know a really veteran comedy writer said he was in a writer's room where a bunch of the writers were in their 20s. And they had a character that was like a Marine, and he didn't like to hug anybody. He didn't want guys hugging him. He would like tense up. And they were writing this character, and one of the young writers said, well, that's really homophobic. We can't write that. And they said, listen, how does a character change and evolve unless they start in some place? Mm-hmm. So why not just have him start there? And we see by the end, maybe grudgingly, but by the end, he accepts a hug. Like, you can't have that ending unless you have that beginning. So there's a certain wokeness, I think, in some young people, although there might be even a backlash against that now in this era that we're in.
I remember you telling me a couple of years ago that you were in a writer's room for a show that I think maybe never aired, where you basically felt they had to hire this diverse cast of writers, and they were basically fighting the entire time over what was offensive.
Right. Yes.
It's obvious, but it's crazy.
Right. That's because the first thing I heard was like where they came from or what ethnicity they were or what sexuality they identified as and I kept thinking, yeah, but can they write comedy?
Yeah, this is the way that things should be. People should not be hired based on the color of their skin or their gender or sexuality. They should be hired based on their merits. They should be hired based on their ability to do the job. And we're seeing this happen so often in entertainment, whether it's Hollywood and movies and TV shows or even the video game industry, where people are being hired when they shouldn't be.
Yeah, I think the comedian she was referring to was Jerry Seinfeld, because I think he was on NPR a couple years ago, and he said that now every script, especially with comedy, has to go through so many different channels before it gets approved now. And it's all to make sure that it's politically correct, that no one's going to get offended. And it's like, okay, so you're watering down and filtering what makes comedy funny?
Yeah, when everything is sanitized, nothing is entertaining anymore.
No, not at all.
I kind of hope that the big secret to all this, the big reveal in the end, is that Hollywood has been using AI like Producer Bot, and Producer Bot has been going out of its way to intentionally destroy human writers and TV shows. And it's that way everyone just leans to AI. I would love that, because that's what it sure as hell seems like. Not literally, but it really is. These people, it is amazing that they can actually, that they all sit in a room and are not laughing at each other's absurdity. Like that. Yeah. That's what I think is hilarious. Like, they're really all on the same page, and this is all taken seriously. And you know damn well, by the way, that Marine, that his arc is to be gay at the end. That's what it is. That to them, he's got to come out of the closet as a gay man. That's what it would be.
And if a good comedic story is funny and the whole room isn't laughing, then you have the wrong team.
I go back to, you talk about getting checks on comedy series or any sort of writing. That was the Seinfeld line. You had to go through and get all these different checks and balances and stuff. I think when you have, and I can only go off my personal experience here, right? And I've told the story before, but when I sold my first company, Screw Attack, this was 2013, okay? And this is, the company that acquired us was a company called Fullscreen. Fullscreen then bought Rooster Teeth. Okay, Rooster Teeth went way down the woke rabbit hole, right? But more importantly, that's kind of a byproduct of the story. More than anything, after they bought Rooster Teeth, they said, hey, Screw Attack, you are now a part of Rooster Teeth. You are a brand under Rooster Teeth. So we went from this brand that had a very good pulse of our community, having knowing what our community is looking for. And more than anything, if we had an idea, we could execute on it like immediately. It's like the Jimmy Kimmel shirt yesterday, right? I was able to do that in the middle of the story and was able to execute that immediately. With Rooster Teeth, after we were paired up, we then had, for anything that we wanted to do, had to get a sign off. And I'm not kidding when I say this, from 7 people before we could create a new piece of merchandise, launch a new show, put together a pilot, anything like that. That's not including, let's just say we wanted to write something or have some sort of scripted show. All that would need to go through these people. And every single one of those people that I had to get a sign off from had no idea what our brand was or the audience that we were catering to, right? And that was extremely frustrating for me at the time. It's ultimately led, I've said this many times, working for Rooster Teeth was the worst 3 years of my professional career for that reason alone, because you have to go in and you have to get okays by people who have no idea what's funny or your audience or your brand. And that's the worst. And I hate it. And I hated it. And I totally sympathize with that situation when it comes to these writers and having to get sign-offs and checks and stuff like that when it comes to these silly things. It's rough. And I think that what she's saying is pretty accurate here, you know. And once again, Rooster Teeth now long dead because of that, you know, red tape when it came to creating anything right there.
Nothing makes a great comedy like that when you overanalyze by committee a joke. That's going to make just a great comedy.
We get things like Happy Gilmore 2.
Oh, you didn't like Happy Gilmore 2?
No.
I thought it was really bloated and kind of, you know, it was fine.
But it was a missed opportunity to introduce new jokes written in the same way that they wrote the jokes in the 90s to bring in this new generation of kids to that type of Happy Madison comedy, and they totally missed the mark. They just regurgitated the same jokes from the original one.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when Rooster Teeth was, you know, it was announced Warner Brothers Discovery was shutting down Rooster Teeth. There were so many activists that were going wild about their history of like workplace controversies. I don't like Rooster Teeth. I don't care about Rooster Teeth. Rooster Teeth fucking sucked by the end, but it was funny to see literally everybody turn against them.
Yeah, they those who what's the old saying? Those who preach the loudest often have the most to hide.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my, oh my. Yes. I will personally give you a high five if you subscribe. I will not actually give you a high five if you subscribe.